put the green one on top?
Today, Doyo sent us this mini arcade. It's a 10.1 inch screen. It's running Android. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz quad core with 4 gigabytes of DDR3 memory. The resolution on the screen is 1024 by 600. It's got 2 speakers in there. It's got these buttons. It's got 8 total arcade buttons there, none on the sides. And then on the top, you can't really see them, really small buttons. There's like a back button and on button. And it does run on a battery. It does come with a battery inside. Now, my unit, I could not get to the local games, but I looked at somebody else's video. It comes with like some really kind of generic wannabe ROMs to begin with, but you're probably going to want to add your own ROMs, and I'll show you how to do that in this video. So let's go ahead and show you the boxing, what I think about the quality, and then I'll go over whether you should put a Raspberry Pi inside or not. But this is definitely a cool little mini arcade machine, so let's go ahead and get into it. So this thing is a cool idea. It's not necessarily cool in execution, and I'll show you why. Here's the box, and it's nothing to write home about. It's fine. As you'll see shortly here, it's they skimp out on quite a few different areas, but it is an arcade box, and it does come with, you know, the 10-inch screen and the speakers and the Android operating system. It's all there. Now, they do cheap out on a lot of different areas. For example, the games that are included are just like really kind of generic ROMs. They give you a little business card that tells you what ROM sites to not get your ROMs from. Hint, hint. And the artwork on this thing is garbage. Like, whoever did Photoshop or got the artwork, look at the front of this unit. They put little micro SD cards, like little images of avatars of micro SD cards. So bad. You do get a little adapter so you can drag and drop ROMs from your computer fairly easily. And you can see here you got colored buttons, you got the joystick, and there's a couple extra buttons up near the monitor, like to go back and to change the volume. On the back of the unit, the marquee at the top does not light up. It's a static image. And back to the images, they're just not good. The front, the back, the sides, none of it is good, in my opinion. If you really look into the details. Now, the buttons are okay. I'd say they're like $20 buttons you'd find on Amazon or eBay. They're fine. They get the job done. The problem is the actual operating system itself, and the board that's included in this particular unit is just slow. You're going to see lag, from both input lag from the controller as well as lag in the actual games. Like, it has a really hard time even doing Super Nintendo. If you have some really low-end arcade games or Game Boy games, it runs just fine. On the back of the unit here, you do have a little holder there to put your hand in and keep it portable, because there is a battery in this thing, actually. We'll talk more about that later. And then there's a micro SD slot, a charging port, and a USB port. You might be able to hook up an external like keyboard to it. I don't know. I didn't really mess with that. I wasn't that interested with this particular board that was included. Now, let's go ahead and show you how you can drag and drop ROMs onto the system itself. So as far as adding ROMs, you'll see games. I made this directory. I don't need that. You just go into games, and I put the zip files .7z as a zip. It wouldn't recognize that. It actually didn't even recognize the .md for Mega Drive. I know there's another different file extension. I'll have to try that for Sega. The compressed files do work for the arcade games, and then for Super Nintendo, the .sfc worked just fine, and Game Boy .gb worked. These ones do not work. Here, I'm going to delete them. Those ones did not work. These are all the ones. So you can just do a Google search online, and you can get ROMs, and then you just drag them and drop them. Make sure they're not zipped up. Just extract them into the original file format. And then you could just take this out of your computer and then put it back into the system. It's fairly simple. So now for some more gameplay. Here we have Tetris. This is a Game Boy ROM. And right off the bat, you'll notice it's stretched out. It's not a very fun way to play Game Boy games. As well as all the systems are going to be running on that. I think it's 16:9. It's definitely a stretched out. It's not 4:3 aspect ratio here. And that's going to be the same for all the ROMs. I'll go ahead and let this game play out a little bit so you can hear the sounds. Next up, we got 1943. This is the arcade ROM. It's really easy to drag and drop MAME ROMs. They're fairly easy on this system, but who knows what kind of performance you're going to get. You're definitely not going to be able to play Mortal Kombat 3 or anything like that. I'll go ahead and let this play for a few minutes so you can get here. And then lastly, we have an NES game. And so the controls are fine. The input lag actually isn't that bad in a game, but in certain games, just the lag in general is very unbearable. The operating system itself is just so minimalist. There's just a lot of shortcomings here, but if you're just gonna play the onboard games, it might be okay. So now for the disassembly of the unit, I'm taking off the sticker on the side here. It actually has a little clear coat on the sticker. The stickers, I was impressed by the quality. So a few things, if you do want to swap a Raspberry Pi, which is a much faster computer inside of here, it wouldn't be my recommendation, but it can be done. You'll notice there is a battery in there. So here, let's just go through these things one by one. Number one, it's a 10.1 inch screen, 1024 by 600 resolution, but it's all running through this 1-inch ribbon cable. I want to say it's like a 20 or 30 pin, and you're going to need some sort of display driver board. I'll put a little link above what you're kind of looking for. You're gonna have to find one that works with this display to then go into HDMI to go video into this Pi. You might be able to use this display port here on the back of the Raspberry Pi, but I definitely try to go for HDMI myself. It's just a better interface altogether. Number two, the controls. So these controls, there's a little controller board here screwed up to the top. The actual connectors that go from the controller board to the computer are different than what's going to work on the Raspberry Pi. So you're going to want to get something like this, a little controller board, which can go from, you can take off all these and then snip them and put them into little connectors that'll fit into here, or you can just get a whole kit that comes with this and the analog stick and the buttons, and just get rid of everything and put on all new. You have a couple options there with the controls. Next, you have the speakers. The speakers are just a red and black wire. I guess there's an amp built in already on this board. So what you're gonna need to do is buy an amp. I'll show a picture of an amp on the screen. You can get them for about 10 bucks, and then you'll wanna go, black and white, and then you'll have to amplify it from there through, or you can connect it from 3.5 auxiliary to the Raspberry Pi. Now the battery, that's all you really need, and then you can just connect it to a power source, you'd be done. But if you do want to keep it on battery, there is like this Raspberry Pi Club here. It's a little battery pack that you could just even take off the battery that comes with it and throw in the 5,000 milliamp battery right there, or keep this 3,800 milliamp battery, and then you could just go from USB to USB Type-C. So when you do the math, the system itself is about $150, and I'm not a fan of it in a stock form. It's very slow, sluggish, but it's kind of cool. If anything, it might be cool to hack the Android operating system that's on there now, and you can turn this into kind of a decoration and put some videos in the background or screensavers. That could be really cool. And then remember, it's battery powered too, so that's kind of fun. And maybe you just want to get somebody a gift. It makes a cool gift. Especially someone who's not going to be using it all the time. As far as, is it economical to buy this and then put the Raspberry Pi in it? If you're looking at upwards to $300, and for upwards of $300, you can get way nicer things. That being said, it would still be a really cool DIY project, a nice challenge, and it might be worth it just for that. So Doyo does have other things as well, everything from Wii game accessories, from like Rock Band guitars, PlayStation 3 stuff, Xbox, PS5 things, some chargers. So give them a check out. They did send me this unit free of charge. So if there's something you're interested in, like I said, it's fairly cheap things coming out of Shenzhen, so you can get some pretty good deals if you know what you're looking for. But anyways, that's what I think about this one. Let me know what you all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.